Sir, you're charged with interference with the duties of a public servant.
Sir.
You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you, sir.
Yes, sir.
On March 28, 2025, an officer was in the process of serving a capital murder warrant on a suspect in Harris County, Texas. While conducting a felony stop, the defendant, who was identified by his Texas ID card, pulled up on the officer's perimeter, got out of their motor vehicle, and began walking to the residence where the murder suspect was. The officer's supervisor ordered the defendant to stop and stay right there. The defendant refused and continued to ignore officers while walking towards the residence. The officer's supervisor ordered the defendant to step back multiple times and then grabbed the defendant and took him to the ground.
Him?
Yes, Your Honor.
Was he the capital murder suspect?
No, Your Honor.
I live there.
Stop.
Oh, sorry, sir.
I believe that they were in the process of serving a warrant on someone else at the residence, and that's when they came in contact with the defendant. Ordered him to stop. He refused to stop going towards the residence, Your Honor.
Did it serve the warrant? What ended up happening?
Looks like after refusing commands, there was a brief struggle where he was detained.
Was the murder suspect there?
I'm not sure, Your Honor. It does not say. I have no further facts that show if the warrant was complete on the warrant or not, Your Honor, or completed at the time. I just believe they were in the process and believed him to be at the residence, and that's when this incident occurred.
Read it again, if you don't mind.
Yes, Your Honor. On March 28, 2025, the law enforcement officer and Squad 5 of the Houston Police Department's gang division served a capital murder warrant for a suspect observed inside a truck at a nearby residence. While conducting a felony stop, the defendant, who is identified by his Texas ID card, pulled up on the perimeter, got out of the vehicle, walked to the sidewalk, and began walking to the residence where the murder suspect was. The supervisor then ordered the defendant to stop and to stay right there. The defendant refused and continued ignoring officers and walking towards the residence. The supervisor ordered him to step back multiple times, but the defendant was once again ignored the officers. The law enforcement officer grabbed the defendant and made him off balance and the ground.
Okay, so now, but when you first started, you said they were going to a capital murder suspect in a car.
Yes, Your Honor. That's what. So I was originally reading the summary, and I'm going straight from the gems now, Your Honor. It looks like the suspect was observed inside a truck at a nearby residence.
So the suspect is not even in the residence. No.
Then they later state that there was that the suspect, that the defendant here was walking towards the residence where the murder suspect was. I'm not sure, Your Honor. I have nothing further.
I find no probable cause in your case. Just be careful, man. When you get into a pissing match with
I understand.
who's going to win?
They are. I understand.
No?
Yes, sir.
All right.
The moment this hearing starts, the judge wastes no time laying down the seriousness of the situation. Interference with a public servant, a charge most people don't take lightly, carries jail time and a hefty fine. And you can see it instantly. The defendant stands there stiff, trying to understand how something happening outside his home escalated into a criminal charge against him. As the prosecutor reads the report, the entire courtroom shifts. This wasn't a routine arrest. Officers were serving a capital murder warrant, one of the most dangerous situations in law enforcement. Tension was already sky high. Every move, every step, every shadow matters. And right at that moment, this defendant pulls up, steps out of his vehicle, and starts casually walking toward the very house where police believed a murder suspect might be. A bold move or a foolish one? Officers shout, "Stop! Stay right there!" But according to the report, he ignores them, not once, multiple times. This is where judges get frustrated. When officers already have guns drawn, nerves tight, and a felony stop in progress, The last thing they want is a civilian walking straight into the danger zone. The supervisor had no choice. He grabs the defendant and takes him to the ground, not out of aggression, but out of pure safety protocol. The defendant quickly tries to explain himself. "I live there," he says. But the judge isn't buying that as an excuse. Living there isn't a free pass to walk into an active felony stop. Even the prosecutor sounds confused for a moment. The report mentions the murder suspect was inside a truck, but then it also says the defendant was walking toward the residence where the murder suspect was. The judge catches that immediately, questioning the inconsistency. But even with the unclear wording, one thing is clear. The defendant ignored repeated officer commands during a capital-level operation. And in the judge's mind, that alone is dangerous enough. When the judge finally rules, he delivers a reality check that hits hard. Be careful, man. When you get into a pissing match with law enforcement, understand who's going to win. That line says everything. The judge isn't angry, he's warning him. In a moment where murder suspects, SWAT-style perimeter setups, and loaded weapons are involved, the last thing you want to do is challenge authority or assume you're in control. The defendant quietly agrees. "Yes, sir." And just like that, the judge moves on, the tension drops, and the case closes, but not without a clear lesson. When police are serving a capital murder warrant, don't walk toward the danger, and don't ignore commands. You might think you're right, but you will definitely lose that confrontation.